Hello everyone, Newline 2019, and we're here with Umut Eldem.
Yes.
Yes, Umut Eldem. So, what was your talk about today?
My talk is about the phenomenon of synesthesia. It's about people, artists, composers who claim to see colors in front of their eyes when they hear music and how it relates to all of us.
Yeah, it's a really fascinating thing. I've heard about it. So, what was your specific message that you wanted to give today about synesthesia?
It's pretty much that synesthesia, it's its own thing, but we all have the ability to associate different senses together. Like we can say a piece of music reminds us of a certain color. And my point was pretty much that if we choose to explore the side of us that connects the senses together, we might actually find some very interesting things about ourselves and the kind of art we watch, see, listen.
So,
whatever.
are you saying that it is something that you can develop?
Synesthesia? No, I don't mean literally seeing colors in front of your eyes. I mean, if you take certain drugs, that's possible. But normally, I'm just talking about the ability to associate, to listen to a piece of music and say, this reminds me of something bluish, maybe a seaside with some seagulls flying overhead, and just regular good old associations like that.
What is your relation to this subject exactly?
Well, I'm a composer, I'm a musician, and one of my favorite composers is Olivier Messiaen. He's a French composer that lived in the 20th century. And when I was listening to his music, I was looking him up, and I find he has this thing called synesthesia, that he could see colors. And I was really fascinated by it, of course. I was like, whoa, this guy sees colors, how does that work? And I started reading up into it. And then I found out that actually other composers, other artists have synesthesia too, and sometimes it actually affects the kind of works they do. So it got me thinking then, what does it mean for us, the people who are not synesthetic, when we experience those works, when we make art that relates to more than one sense, how we can make sense of all this?
Yeah, so does that mean that people with synesthesia have a different brain? Is that how you should look at it?
Yeah, they do have a different brain, or the connections in the brain is different. I mean, if you take a genuinely synesthetic person and put them into an MRI machine, you will see the regions of the brain that lights up are different than of non-synesthetic people. So there is something happening there that's physiologically different. Their brains are different. But in a way, it's just a more extreme version of what we all experience when we, again, associate different senses together. It is just that these people have different brains, so they're actually experiencing the other senses that they associate with.
So is this something you can you have tests for or something? Or?
Yeah, in fact, there are tests, because it's really hard to believe someone when it says, oh yeah, dude, I totally see blue when I hear this kind of music. So usually what they do is they ask a person to list the colors they see with a list of notes or alphabet or whatever it is they have the synesthesia with. And in a few months, they ask them again. In a year or two, they ask them again. And if they are truly synesthetic, they give very similar answers every time. And this means that they have either incredible memory and they're a genius, or that they actually see these colors consistently, that they can know this huge list of alphabet and which color every letter is, which is the more likely case.
But then that also means it's not like a true connection where like this piece of music is blue for all synesthetic people?
No, but synesthesia is different for everyone. So everyone has their own color. And for example, you look in the history of composers, right? And you see some composers with synesthesia actually argue with each other on which color this chord is. And this guy says, no, it's blue. And the other one says, no, it's orange. And there are actually arguments like that, which is pretty funny. But if you take a large enough sample, if you get like 100 synesthetic people, you start to see some agreements on certain colors, certain range of notes, certain chords. But on the personal level, it is very personal what they feel. And that's maybe why they don't talk about it a lot in their writings. It's a very personal experience.
Okay. Well, is there a way that you'd discovered synesthetic people among your audience, for example? Or
well, it happens a lot. That it happened today, in fact, that when I do a presentation or talk about this subject, someone comes to me and says, oh yeah, I see the days of the week has different colors or notes, or usually my friend who's a musician experiences colors, those things. So actually participating in these kind of events helps me find more synesthetic people, Because the rate of synesthesia, and the science is not entirely certain on that, but the rate of synesthesia is around 10%. And this means all kinds of synesthesia, like anything to color, anything to anything. It's around 10%, so it is quite likely to run into someone who has experiences like this.
Okay, so regardless of when you research these things and you discover, oh, I have synesthesia, I don't have synesthesia, you state there is something to learn from everyone, by everyone, from like going through these things.
Yes, because as I have said, we all can still associate between certain things. It's something I did in my talk today. I made people listen to music and I forced them to tell me which color they would pick with this music. And
What
when
happened?
you start, well, in fact, they started picking similar colors. The first music fragment, let's say, I made them listen to, I had 5-6 people jumping up and saying, yeah, it's yellow. So it's very obvious to see immediately that there is kind of an agreement on which color a music should be, on a certain level at least. And I believe that by discovering this, then as an artist, as a musician, or if I was a visual artist as well, I might discover better ways to relate to an audience, or better ways to help a musician to learn certain kinds of music, or to teach musicians on how to play music by associating it with different senses that we know we all share together.
Cool. Where can people learn more?
Well, I do have a website on the, I do have a page on the website of the University of Antwerp. There are some videos on YouTube that explain synesthesia more in detail. And I'm sure you'll be able to find the links in the description under this.
We'll make sure
interview.
about that. Sounds like a good idea. This was an eye-opening discussion. People had a lot of fun with your talk. Maybe we see you next year.
I would certainly love that.
And have fun today.
Thank you.
Bye.